Hello fellow Peanuts fans, today we're giving a little bit of love to this 1980s cut and sew pillow. This pillow has a couple issues. The stuffing is a little loose in his nose, there's some staining and discoloration, and we can hide this stitching at the bottom. I'm going to be using embroidery thread, Wonder Under, some extra fabric, some quilt batting, and some fiber fill. First, we're going to take out this thread at the bottom so we can remove all the stuffing. Have to get it out of that tiny little nose. As I suspected, the curves are clipped in this pillow, as it should be. Have to be very delicate with this pillow to make sure the fabric doesn't tear. First, we're going to wash it up with some Retro Clean. And we're being very careful through this process since the red dye is bleeding out. But luckily it is not staining the pillow. Next step is to delicately remove all these threads. Once that's done, I'm going to give it a nice iron and assess the situation. I'm going to use this Wonder Under interfacing to give it a little bit of support. First, I lay out my fabric, measure out my Wonder Under, and carefully iron it on. I'm just doing the middle to start with, and then I can cut off the excess and finish ironing it. Once that's done, I can do this satisfying backing peel, and now there's a layer of glue. Now we're laying out the extra piece of fabric to help give it the stability and ironing that down. These two pieces of fabric are now fused together through the power of heat. Now we can get started on the fun part, the embroidery. This is the pattern I'm using that I mocked up in Photoshop, and I'm going to do some trials first just to get my technique down and figure out exactly how I want these flowers to work on the final piece. My first thought was to outline the flowers so they look cartoonish, but I decided against that in the end. We're going with lazy daisies plus a satin stitch with French knots. Now all I need to do is transfer this design onto the final piece. I unfortunately lost all my footage of the embroidery process, but here you can see how close Molly was supervising me while I was embroidering. Here we have the finished embroidered pillow front. Looking good. Next up, quilt batting. I'm going to sandwich it between scrap fabric and the pillow front. Now my first thought was to give the word Snoopy a bit of dimension, and I decided to hand quilt them because I figured it would be easier. However, when I was done, I wasn't really happy with it. It just wasn't puffy enough for me. So I pulled it all out. I then tried 4 layers of batting and I still didn't like it. We're changing tactics here and using just 2 layers of batting and doing some machine quilting instead. I'll just be going around the black outlines to give them a little bit of dimension. You can really see all the quilting lines here on the back. Next, I'm sewing the front of the pillow to the back of the pillow. I'm turning it out and seeing there are a lot of areas that need a little extra attention so that the white isn't showing through. Plus, I'm trimming off all the extra batting and scrap fabric so it'll be easier to turn. Gotta make sure Snoopy's nose is just right, and it is the most difficult part of this project. It's not quite lined up though. Here it is, all turned out. I'm just examining my work to see what might need a little extra attention. I'm not super happy with how the 2 pieces of fabric are going together, but I'm going to stuff it and see how it looks. Well, I can tell you I'm not loving it. The front quilted side is just too bulky against the unquilted back. So you know what that means. I'm quilting the back. Now if you're an experienced sewist, you're going to be wondering, how am I going to line up all the edges so that none of the white edges are showing through and everything is lined up just perfect? I thought long and hard about that while doing all this quilting, and I think I came up with a pretty brilliant idea. The solution is sew on those black lines so that they show through to the white backside. Now that I can see the black outline on the back white side, I can easily sew up the pillow. However, on Snoopy, I did end up hand stitching him so I could get that alignment just right. Now we're finally doing the final stuffing. Once again, we're starting with Snoopy's nose to get everything just right. Now the last step is just like the first in reverse. I'm doing a blind stitch to close up the bottom of the pillow. You won't even know where I stitched. Here's the final pillow in my Snoopy room. He's looking gorgeous. As a reminder, here is the before and the after. He looks so much cleaner, that spot is removed, and the new flowers just breathe a new life into it. The only change I would make is to square off the bottom with a green strip of fabric, then you'd be able to see all these little daisies better. What do you think of this project, and what do you think the next project should be? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching the process of updating this 1980s pillow. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel, as all we do here is peanuts. Plus, you can join us on Patreon.com, where you can sponsor more videos like this, and visit us at CollectPeanuts.com, where you can see photos of my collection, buy something for your own collection, and read articles on collecting peanuts. Happy collecting, everyone! Bye!